Brandon, as you look end of this season and into next spring training when you see these guys again, what are some points of emphasis?
Well, we're meeting with a lot of our players right now of off-season programs and what we feel like they need to do to improve. Their little recapping of the season. Want to hear them talk also. Get their perspective on a lot of things. But yeah, I just think that we have a lot of young, inexperienced players that are going to continue to improve, and this off season's big for a lot of our guys to go home, decompress, and then work on improving areas that they feel and we feel like also that they need to improve on. I thought we did take a step forward in a lot of ways. I thought a lot of guys did take a step forward from last year, and we're just looking to continue to improve every single day.
Next up is Rakabaka.
Brandon, given Keegan Aiken the start today, I know you were undecided earlier in the week. What made you decide that it would be good to get him out there one more time?
We just felt like he was ready to make one more start, and we decided a few days ago, to be honest, and we just wanted to make sure Keegan responded well after his last start, and he did, and he's ready to go today. So, yeah, I like watching Keegan pitch. I think that he's had a nice done a nice job since he's gotten here from Bowie. It's been exciting to watch him. It's exciting to watch him improve and facing a good Blue Jays lineup today, and I think he's going to have a good last start.
Next is John Mioli.
Brandon, you have a lot of guys who've had good stretches this year, but might not be ending statistically where they want it to be. We've heard from you and Mike about how you guys think this has been a pretty successful year. Is that the feedback you're getting from the players as they're sitting down with you guys? Do they feel like this was a good and positive year generally?
I think they do feel like that. I think that there were a lot of guys are disappointed in the last 20 games and how they're finishing up because that's really them putting pressure on themselves, wishing from a team aspect, wishing that they could have done more to help us in the last 20 games. Because the season's really, for me, kind of a two-part. It was the first 40 games I thought we played really well. I thought, we were right around a 500 club that had an opportunity to win a handful of games more than that at that point. And then we just ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw here the last few weeks where we just didn't swing the bat extremely well. And a lot of guys, went through some tough times offensively kind of together. And we just had a tough time getting out of that. So I think that there's some disappointment a little bit in how some of these guys have finished. But listen, I'm proud of our guys. I think we have gotten better. It's, being a consistent major league player is easier said than done. We've had the toughest schedule of anybody in the game. Our guys have improved. They've posted up. They have come out to play, and it just didn't happen for us offensively really the last few weeks. But there is a lot of positives going forward, but there is some disappointment on some of our offensive players about how they finished up.
Next up is Steve Molesky.
Brandon, in a similar vein to some fall off towards the end, did you feel defensively that it happened too? I mean, it's obviously harder to quantify in a stat sheet defense. Yep. And if you do think it fell off, was it just some individual things, or were there some team-wide issues you saw?
I think as we started to struggle swinging the bat a little bit, I think that our defense wasn't as good. And we didn't play as well defensively the first few weeks as we did the first month of the season. I thought we played better team defense. I thought we made the routine play a lot more. I don't think we were perfect, and that we still needed to improve. There was areas we needed to improve at that point. But I think the defense has fallen off a little bit the last few weeks, and I think that that's because of some frustration from some of our position players with their offensive frustration, and that's inexperience, and that's just not having a ton of veterans to help pick up the pieces a little bit. kind of young guys going through this together. The one veteran that we have with Iglesias has been an incredible voice for our guys. Somebody that he sits down individually, talks to a lot of our guys about. I met with Iggy this morning, so he's been a huge help in that. We just don't have a whole lot of guys with a lot of service time up here, and sometimes offensive struggles can impact you defensively also, and that's an area that we just got to improve. We got to improve. We got to be more consistent on the defensive side.
Next is David Larilla.
Hey, Brandon. You obviously played all of the East teams this year in both leagues. Which teams and players stood out to you most?
Well, there's a lot of good teams we faced. I think that we really struggle with the Yankees and the Rays pitching staffs. I thought that both those teams have arms that could win in any sort of series. Obviously the Yankees offense is extremely dangerous, but they're tough to score on, and the Rays are very tough to score on also. And we played them quite a few games in our tough stretch, and didn't go well for us. But yeah, those two teams for me are just the arms they have is it's a grind offensively, because of just they can attack you in so many different ways. New York's obviously got Cole and Tanaka and Happ, and the young kid Garcia, and then their bullpen is guys making a ton of money for a reason, that pitched the 6th to the 9th inning with tied or with the lead, and that's really tough to score on. And then Tampa just has a bunch of guys with all different kinds of arm angles that have really good arms. And Snell and Glasnow at the top are extremely tough. And then Morton is a World Series winner. So those are the teams that stand out.
Yeah, quick follow-up, please. Did you see enough of the Braves or Marlins to form an opinion on either?
We saw the Marlins extremely early, so I'm not the right one to ask about them. Even though they beat us 4 games when we were playing well, and then we played well right after that. And then the Braves, we won 2 out of 3. Their bullpen is dynamite. So if they have the lead after the 4th, then they're very, very tough to beat, because their offense is extremely good, and they have 3 or 4 closers pitching the last few innings of the game, with weapons from right and left-handed. So Braves are tough if they have the lead.
Back to Rich Dubroff.
And it's been a real difficult year for you personally, being away from your family and not doing the things that you like to do. What's next for you? When do you get to go home? When do you are you going to stay around and meet with Mike some? What's ahead for you the next few days?
No, I'm going home tomorrow, and then I'll be talking to Mike every day, probably 2 or 3 times a day, for the rest of the off season. So I'm sure I'll be traveling back into Baltimore some. I'll be going to Sarasota. But yeah, I'm going home tomorrow, and it's been I've only seen my family for a couple days since we started summer camp. So looking forward to going home and taking the kids to school.
Back to John Mioli.
On that same vein as Rich, what are you most looking forward to? I'm sure you've enjoyed the season, but what are you most looking forward to now? Coming up.
You're wanting me to say hockey?
I'll get emotional. We aren't having our season. Are they playing?
He's got practice today.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah. No, yeah, just being home, taking the kids to school, picking them up, having family dinners, watching activities. He's still in fall, Colton's in fall baseball right now, doing hockey also, playing football. So just looking forward to being around and taking my daughter to horseback riding, etc.